when we get the first reactions from chat. I'll just start this a bit earlier because there are so many people already waiting. Hello! Okay, I'm never entirely 100% sure when I'm live and when not. Today we'll do something very fun. Just, I mostly take this as a reason for us to hang out a little bit together on stream because we haven't done this in a while. I thought it would be fun to play through the Will You Snail winter demo on impossible difficulty, which, if you remember, was a little demo of my upcoming Steam release Will You Snail that I published last winter. So it's already, the game's already 1 year old that we're gonna play today, but it's still very relevant because it has Christmas theme and we're gonna play today. Fun fact, I've never managed to beat it on impossible difficulty because it's actually super hard on impossible, but today I'm not gonna stop streaming before we make it happen. And I really hope that's not gonna be too long. And you can also hear a little bit of clickering in the background here. That is Jan. Hello, Jan.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream.
Yes, very nice. Jan might help me to read some questions from chat to make sure that I don't miss something.
Jonas needs to focus on his elite gamer skills. He can't read chat, yes. I'll read chat.
Hello, hello. Yeah, let's try to get in a little bit of a Christmassy mood. I hope you have like a cup of tea or something like that.
I love your hat today, by the way.
Yes, I like it too. Thank you for noticing.
Hello, okay. Nick.
By the way, for everybody who's already played the Winter Will You Snail demo, of course, the link to that is in the description if you want to try it yourself. I'm taking your bets now. How long do you think will it take me to beat the game? Some people have already said 2 days.
8 hours.
8 hours. I don't think so. I think I can do it in 3 actually. We'll see. Nice.
1 hour per level.
First thing we actually have to do is probably some audio mixing just to make sure you have the correct volume, the game has the correct volume, I have the correct volume. So I'll just start up the game so we can get started with that. Okay. So I think I'll need to make the game a little more quiet. Maybe like this.
Dude, we have so many people in chat right now.
Oh, that is insane. Hello. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I guess we haven't done a live stream in a while.
And our bets range from 14 nanoseconds to like 11 hours.
Let's hope it's not any more than 4, because otherwise it's gonna be very exhausting. Okay, so here's the game. You might have seen it. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but it's gonna be pretty tough. Is the mixing fine like this? Like, can you hear me, Jan, and the game? That is what I'm asking. Oh wait, I guess I can make Jan a little louder, right? Jan, say something.
Turn me up, make me louder. Here we go. Can you hear me, people?
Hello.
Hey.
I mean, professionals usually do the audio mixing before the stream starts. We'll just do it like this. Okay, like if the audio isn't mixed properly, just let me know. And what do you think? Should we try to beat the game on a casual difficulty first, or should we go right to impossible difficulty? What do you think?
Casual
sounds fine? Okay,
probably
very nice. Thank you.
Oh, someone's saying Jan is too loud.
Jan is too loud? Okay, but I think I made you...
Yeah, it might have been
I can tone both Jan as well as the game down a little bit, like this. Is
Jan
this better?
Is too loud. Yeah, multiple people have said Jan is too loud, so...
Okay, and now let me know if the game is too silent. Like, I think Jan should be fine.
Am I fine, people? Am I alright now? People vote for impossible right away, by the way.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, we're gonna go for impossible right away.
Everyone wants to go right in.
Okay, let's go right into impossible. As I've said, I've never beaten this on impossible myself. So some people apparently have tried it. I haven't heard of anybody who has managed to beat this on impossible. if I manage to beat this on Impossible, I'm the first person I know of who've managed to beat this on Impossible. Okay, we're gonna go for Impossible. I've hyped you up enough. Very nice.
People in chat, have you beaten this game on Impossible? Is there anyone out there
I think
who has already gone through the pain?
I think some people have tried it and told me that it's impossible due to a bug.
Aptly titled.
Like, apparently you can't even beat it on Impossible because there's a bug somewhere in there. I hope not, because that would mean I have to stream indefinitely.
I will have to read chat indefinitely.
But maybe they were just not skilled enough, who knows?
This must be like a record. We have like almost 200 people in.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
It is.
Let's go, suffering begins. Okay, yeah. If you're bored, go wishlist the game on Steam. Link to that is in the description as well.
Hello, human. Let's celebrate Christmas and New Year's together. Let's start with seeing you suffer. I love it.
And I'll be in each level for a while, so I guess at the beginning of each level we can decide where we put the camera. Maybe, yeah, maybe I guess in this level down here is fine.
Start moving now.
And Squid might be a bit silent,
My God, impossible difficult.
but that's fine.
What a beautiful
He's not really
Christmas
saying
present.
anything interesting anyway. And of course I've played this level quite a lot. This is one of the easier levels on Impossible. Like, you have to be super precise and land on these little edges here. And by the way, if you have any questions, anything you would like to ask me, just feel free to ask. Hopefully Yen will pick it up and then we have something to talk about, because this will clearly take a while.
Yep, I'll try my best to keep up.
They say Christmas is all about love. My partner.
So Quinn
I'm already off to a good start. This is awesome.
Quinn Rutherford is asking, is the game out? No, it's not. It's in beta.
Yeah, but you can play this demo. This demo is out already. I've actually published this last year. But the full game will probably come out next year on Steam.
Well, took you long enough.
Nice.
Nothing to be proud of.
That was the first level, but that was
Be so kind and help me to decorate the tree. After that, you'll get your presents.
actually the easy one. I
Oh
think.
wow, you already beat it.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Oh, this is boring.
This is one of the really tough ones, though. I think this is actually the hardest level on Impossible.
Oh yes.
Because these icicles here. I mean, you can by the way, you can walk through these icicles on the ground. You just can't fall on them. That's what kills you. Okay, in this level I think we can move the camera over here, so you can see what the hell's going on, and then maybe
Get going, or I'll have to restart you.
does that flip the camera? Oh yeah, perfect.
At least on Impossible, you only have to do it once.
Yeah, exactly. I just need to get to the end of the level. I basically need to help the AI to decorate the tree. And yeah, then I can have a look at the chat as well every now and then, of course. Yeah, exactly. If you want to play along, link is in the description.
Wake me up when you're
So
ready.
there was a person with a very long name that I'm not going to attempt to pronounce who asked, which country are you from? And we're both from Germany.
Yeah, most people can tell that by listening to my accent. Apparently I have a pretty strong German accent.
Yeah, your
Working
accent
on
is
it.
funny though. Like it's not a normal standard German accent.
It's just...
It's the Jonas German.
Okay, it's the Jonas German.
It's the best way I can describe it, honestly.
Yeah, so in this level there are these icicles that fall from the ceiling, and if you don't know, one of the gimmicks in Will You Snail is that the AI kind of predicts your movement, meaning these icicles have a pretty high chance of dropping perfectly onto my head. And of course on Impossible you have a really low reaction time, so my strategy is basically for many parts of this level I just need to bait these icicles out, because of course they can only fall once. So by jumping to the right here, I can trick the AI into thinking that I'm gonna jump over there and sometimes bait these icicles to fall down. But of course I need to make sure that that doesn't kill me. Damn it! Okay, let's see how much swearing the stream will have. I played this game yesterday for a little bit to see if everything works, and I got pretty upset when I weren't able to beat this level. I think I've never beaten this level on Impossible. Like this is definitely the nemesis level.
So you tried yesterday.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Can you change it from level to level? Like, can you change the difficulty?
No.
Midway through?
No.
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 Okay, you have to really commit to it.
Yeah.
Dang.
That wasn't possible back then.
You tried the other levels?
Yeah, what I tried to see is if I could find the bug that people were telling me about, because some people claimed that it's not possible to beat this on this difficulty. Okay, this looks actually quite promising, because now I managed to bait out the icicles on the top here. Now, I think if I get this jump right, I will be able to get up to the top there. No!
You've got to try harder than this.
I was just about to say, good luck. By the way, I'm largely relying on your audio reactions, like on your voice, to tell what's going on, because the stream has a delay.
Okay, yeah. I guess you'll be able to tell when I die right before the goal.
Yeah.
Okay. No! Oh, damn it.
So,
Okay.
some time for questions, maybe, because some have piled up. Cringy Cookie asks, when your next I Will Play Your Games video is?
Yeah, probably sometime at the beginning of next year, January, February, something like that. And I'm thinking the next Jonas Plays Your Games video will probably be the mobile edition, because a lot of people have asked for that.
Justice for mobile.
Justice for mobile games, exactly. So Jonas Will Play Your Mobile Games will be the next one.
This never gets old.
Peter Crawley asks, will the game have support for Linux?
Apparently it works just fine with Wine. So it seems to work on Linux already. I'm not quite sure about native Linux support, because usually that is connected to a lot of new bugs and tech support on a platform that I literally don't know anything about. Like it's not hard for me to port the game to Linux, but what is very hard is to offer proper tech support for Linux. Like that is
What a desperate attempt.
That is the difficult part, and I'm not sure if I wanna offer the game on Linux if I can't help people to get the game to work properly, if they have issues.
And then here's a very common question about this mechanic, which is, I don't get it. Why the spikes on the floor doesn't always activate by Puko?
Oh yeah. You can walk through them as long as you don't jump on top of them. So they only hurt you when you fall on them.
Yeah, like spikes.
Yeah. Yeah, but that is actually something a lot of people didn't get.
Yeah.
When they played the game, so you're definitely not the only one. And then in this level, of course, the goal is to decorate the tree up there. You can see every time I die, I create a little Christmas bulb. And on impossible difficulty, you just need to die once on the tree to hang one bulb. And usually you have to do a couple more. Impossible, like, one is more than hard enough. We'll be in this level for quite a while. And we actually have 260 people watching right now. That is definitely a record. That is insane.
Oh, I didn't see that. Crazy.
Insane.
Your opening bracket, not closing bracket, making humanity proud XD.
And just one more time, as the title of this video is a little bit misleading, this is not the Steam version of the game. This is the demo I made 1 year ago. But this is actually I think the impossible mode in this is even harder than in the Steam version. I can beat the Steam version on the hardest difficulty a lot faster than this. Or I guess the difference is that in the Steam version I have actually beaten it on the hardest difficulty. Here I haven't.
So here's a question about the AI in this game. By Wade Adriansen. Sorry for butchering your name. Does the AI only learn from you? Because then you can just act really weird for the first 10 deaths and then play through the level normally. Does that work? Nope.
The AI is not based on machine learning. It's just, honestly, it's just a very simple, dumb algorithm. So unfortunately, that does not work. Basically, all the AI does, technically speaking, is predicting where you'll be in half a second, and then, like, if your position in half a second is under one of these icicles, for example, then they drop downwards. Meaning that if you just keep moving in that direction, you're very likely to be hit by the icicle. Like that. The cool thing about this algorithm is that it oftentimes feels kind of smart, even though it absolutely isn't. And of course, in this mode, you just have really tight reaction times. Sorry.
Oh, yes. No, I'll try not to distract too much.
Okay.
Robert Anker asks, how much will it cost?
So far, I've always answered with like $10 or something like that. Might be a little more, might be a little less. I'm not 100% sure yet.
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, that was actually a good attempt. I didn't really take it serious enough there. That the furthest I've gotten so far? I think so, right? Here we go. Let's bait out that icicle.
There's a mechanics question again about the tree and the die here score by Pugo. What's the score after your dying mean? I think it's the
Die here. Yeah,
from...
the 0 of 1 at the on the tree there. Is that what you mean?
I think so.
That is how many Christmas bulbs you have to hang on the tree. And on Impossible, it's just 1. So honestly, the counter up there, it's a little pointless on this difficulty. So the goal is to die on the tree.
What a shame.
Alexandru Axel asks, what do you suggest to start with in game dev for a noob? Unity and C#? Is it good or is it too hard?
There are definitely easier ways to start than Unity, but I think Unity is still not all that hard. Like if you follow my Unity tutorial for beginners, for example, I think you can get started quite easily in Unity as well. Okay, but it really depends on your expectations. Like if you want to make games with Unity, then what you have to expect is, I guess, a couple of weeks of learning before you can get started making your own games a little more freely. I think there are a couple of game engines that allow you to create stuff more quickly, and it's only getting easier and easier.
Did you do that on purpose? Certainly.
Or what would you say, Jan? You've used Unity as well.
I mean, like, yeah, I learned Unity as a noob, and I mean, I had excellent support from our teacher at university, so of course that helps. But I think, like, if you just go into Jonah's Unity tutorials, like, I can't recommend it enough. I think they're very good. So just like look up Jonah's Unity tutorials on his channel, and I think it's a fine way to start getting into it. And then, like, really the crucial thing that you need to know is how to kind of research, right? Like if you know how to look things up, look up your problems that you will definitely encounter when making your Unity game. There's a lot of support online. There's the Unity forums, there's also the Unity manual and the scripting API, and those resources typically will help you to get there. And if all else fails and you cannot find anything, there's always sources like our Discord where you can post in tech help too. And we're
Very
always
true.
glad to help people.
Definitely need a little bit of patience to make a game with Unity though. Like, I feel like some people are a bit too impatient when they want to get started making games. But like with a little bit of patience, Unity is not too hard.
Yep. Peter Gilmore asks, did you program the game or did you use Unity?
That is a very contradictory question because you can do both. You can program the game and use Unity.
Yeah.
In this case, I programmed the game in GameMaker. And there are quite a couple of people who seem to support the opinion that if you didn't write the engine entirely from scratch, then it doesn't really count, then you're not really a real game developer. And if you think that that's fine, then the answer is I've not programmed the game, I've just used a game engine. Like, I don't take any particular pride in having programmed this. I don't really care. I just want to make games, you know.
So I've seen multiple questions about what you think about Godot and if Godot is good for 2D game dev or Godot, whatever you want to call it.
Like, that is pretty hard to answer because I've only tried Godot for one day, or Godot, depending on how you pronounce it. Apparently both pronunciations are fine. Yeah, I've only used it for one day.
You do have a video on that though, right? Like,
yeah, like I have a video where I try it out. So I filmed myself trying it out. If you want to go watch that, then go watch that. And I tell you a little bit about my thoughts there. But like the general, in general, I think I can't really say a lot about it because if I start talking about it, then the actual Godot users will get mad at me again for spreading misinformation. Yeah.
That's fair. Gaming Let's Plays asks, does it say in the UI in Will You Snail if you completed the game in easy, hard, or impossible? That makes me want to complete the game on all difficulties.
Yes, in the final game you can of course see which difficulty you completed on. And even at the end of the demo there will be a screen showing you how often you died and which difficulty you completed it on.
Yeah, so if you want bragging rights for that, then you can take a screenshot at the end.
Yes, I hope so. Okay, I made it up here again. Now let's try to be really careful. I can feel this is the one. I'll finally make it all the way to the end.
Alright,
and like even getting to the halfway point here is surprisingly tricky. Problem is if I want to bait out these spikes up here, I need to make sure that I land between these icicles at the ground here. And also I can't jump in too far, because then I'm at risk of getting hit by these icicles at the top. Like, that was pretty close. Okay. Now I'm in a pretty good spot because all of the, or almost all of the icicles at the top here are gone. Whew. Oh, I'm so nervous. Oh. That was close. Shit. Nah! Oh. Why?
The sound effects in the stream are pretty good.
Oh dear.
They always clearly tell you whether you're currently dying or not.
Okay.
Oh, I just saw it. That was funny. So, here's a question by Suchtivich XD. What do you think of Baba Is You? Have you played Baba Is You?
No, but since I've seen it in in the Game Maker's Toolkit episode. It's definitely on my bucket list. So
Oh, you should play it. It's so good. Like I played it and it's amazing. It's an amazing game. I still have to play through all of it because it's getting really hard. Some of the puzzles are.
Yeah, the thing is, I really
difficult.
like puzzle games. I'm a big fan of puzzle games, so I think this game I'll definitely like this.
It's an amazing puzzle game. You should really try it.
Okay. In theory, I should be able to jump up there again. Like, let's see how high I can jump. See, this is how high I can jump. So in theory, I should be able to get up there from down here. But it's really tight. It's really, really tight. No! No!
Wow, dude.
Oh no, that was so mean. At first I was so happy that I made it up there, but then the icicle killed me from the top. Oh,
I just heard one person, Deeks, saying, "I changed my music jam suggestion, remixed Jonas sounds from this stream."
Yeah, that's a funny idea. If you don't know what we're talking about, we have little music jams on our Discord group every month where we make some music together. So like a game jam, but for music. It's kind of fun.
It's amazing. If you're a musician and you're not in our Discord yet, or you haven't joined the music jam yet, come by. It's a hell of a lot of fun.
I feel like I'm getting better at the beginning. Do we have another question?
Yes. Squid. We have so many questions. I can't come up with the questions of 250 people. But we have one. Do you enjoy, by Squids, do you enjoy coding or making art more?
I enjoy coding more because I suck at making art. As you can clearly tell by the look of this game. Like, I had to try really hard to make it even look like this.
Hard art.
Hard art.
Sir Mount asks, "Who is that with you on the stream?" Yeah, who is
that is Jan, one of my friends from game school, and he agreed to join in to read some of the questions because that way I can just answer more questions, because playing and looking at chat at the same time is a bit tricky.
It's German efficiency, everybody.
Exactly.
So Peter Crawley really wants to know the answer to this question because he's posted it so many times, and it's just, what is your favorite game?
I have played Outer Wilds recently, and I think that is my new favorite game for now. Outer Wilds is so great. I love that game so much. Like, I've never, or I haven't felt that strongly about a game in a very long time. Yeah, it's great. Have you played it, Jan?
No, I haven't actually checked it out. Should I? Like, it's what's so good about it?
It's an exploration game, a space exploration game where you're stuck in a time loop.
Oh, that's fascinating. Okay.
Yeah, so the universe explodes after 22 minutes, and you just have
like those are 22 in-game minutes.
Yes. Exactly.
That's super interesting. That's already such a great premise, honestly. Like what you said about your other video about appeal, like that instantly sounds very appealing.
Oh, you have to watch the trail of Outer Wilds. That trailer has incredible appeal to me. Like, it's probably because I like exploration, because I'm fascinated by space exploration as well. So I'm sure the appeal factor will not be the same for everybody who watches the trailer, but in general, if you're looking for a really well done trailer that really gets you excited for a game, then watch the Outer Wilds announcement trailer. It's really nice. Like it. Outer Wilds has a really nice vibe to it, where it kind of mixes those sitting on a campfire vibes with space exploration, which is a really awesome mix. You can literally roast marshmallows in space.
That sounds amazing. That's already an appealing fantasy right there.
Right there. And in terms of gameplay, I like it because it has a super interesting progression system where the progression system is entirely based on the information you collect. So if I started playing the game now, you could literally beat it in 22 minutes in the first 22-minute cycle because you already have all of the information you need to beat the game.
That's
And
amazing.
the goal of the game is just to collect all of the information you need to make that happen. To escape the time loop.
I love that idea.
And you can explore very freely, like it's not hand-holdy at all, you can just do whatever you want. So clear recommendation, Outer Wilds, if that sounds cool to anybody. Go check it out.
Sounds cool to me.
Unfortunately, it's only available on the Epic Store for now, but I think it will come to Steam at some point as well.
A lot of elite gamers won't like that.
Yeah, I guess so.
So Peter Crawley again with a hot new question. Do you like Portal?
Yes, it's also one of my favorite games. Like, it's probably place 2 after Outer Wilds. And I also really like Talos Principle. And of course you can probably tell that this game is also pretty inspired by Portal due to the AI antagonist that is clearly Portal inspired.
Right.
Yeah.
Portal 1 or 2?
Both are great, of course.
Yeah,
in general, Portal 2 has really iterated really nicely on Portal 1 concepts, but like if you want to play Portal, then start with 1.
Yeah,
because they're both great.
But Portal 2 is gonna win in my book because of the level editor and because of just how much fun you and I had with like playing those levels together with the multiplayer mode.
True. Oh man, I'm starting to get really tired of this level. Let's try to focus.
All right, I'll shut up for a while.
Yeah, I mean, if you see any questions. Okay, I made it to the top here again. Let's bait out these spikes. And we're up. Come on, let's bait out a couple more. Yes, we'll do it. We'll do it, come on. Yes! Okay.
Good luck.
Yes! Yes, 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 yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, let's breathe. Let's take a little break. Okay. How about I have a look at the chat for once? I like this game. How do I download it? The download link for this demo is in the description. It's the Will You Snail winter demo, available on itch.io. And the link to the full Steam release is in the description as well, which is not out yet, but will come out next year, hopefully. Okay, focus. Yeah, let's focus. We can do this. We're very close already. Oh my god, I'm so nervous. Will I actually be able to complete this level now? Oh my god. Let's try to bait out this spike here. I can just do that by walking back and forth here. Whew, and now here's where it gets really tricky, because how do I continue from here, right? I can't, like... How do I bait out those spikes? Because in order to do that, I need to jump here, and then I need to land directly between these two spikes here. No! Ah, damn it. That was so obvious that would happen if I tried to bait those spikes. No. Okay, but no worries. I'm super focused now. I'll just get back there in no time. Oh my god, what have I done? Why did I start the stream with this title? No. Oh no.
Enjoy, everybody.
Oh no. Yeah, I guess we'll be here for a while.
The big Jonas show.
When is the game releasing? There's not a set date yet, unfortunately. Because there's still a lot of things I want to improve for the final game. My playtesters keep requesting new features, so it feels like a bottomless pit where it just can keep going forever. But I guess at some point I'll just have to call it quits and release it. Main thing a lot of people asked for was additional story, surprisingly, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I was also one of the people asking for it,
yeah.
to be honest.
story writing for games is kind of interesting. I haven't really done that before, so this is first time I'm doing that.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah, it's quite difficult, yeah. And also, the story of Will You Snail is a little bit of an unconventional example. It's not really a very traditional story because you have very strange characters. You have a snail and you have an AI.
It's not quite the hero's journey.
Yeah, exactly. Gonna be something different, for sure.
Oh, apparently, Siap guy made a bad fan game for Will You Snail.
Nice.
Can I send a link somewhere? If it looks like I'm spamming, please more. It doesn't look like you're spamming.
Yeah, sure, you can
send a link on Discord if you can. Join our Discord and send us a link. We'll check it out.
Let's go to the lift. Yeah, I mean, this probably, let's be real guys, this is probably the point where you should close the stream and just do something useful with your time.
You just want everyone to close the stream so that you can cheat and switch to another mode.
Oh, yeah, actually one of the clever things I did yesterday was implementing a skip level button. Just in case, who knows, of course. Of course, we're not gonna use that. Of course not. No.
Suddenly the connection mysteriously cuts out and you're in the next level.
Oh no, you didn't see that. Oh no, what a shame.
Very important question here, actually. Samuel Zelic asks, what is your opinion on potatoes?
I like potatoes.
Yep, pretty uncontroversial opinion to have.
Especially when they're fried.
Oh yes, that's a good potato. Daniel Vrzek, I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry, Slavic language speakers. Can you tell us more about the game school?
Oh yeah, for sure. I studied game design at HTW Berlin, which is a game design school in Germany. I actually didn't finish my studies there, but that doesn't change the fact that it's a pretty nice school. Like, it's very focused on actually making games. It's very practical. There are a lot of semesters where all you do is making games, more or less, with a couple of courses on the side, but the main thing you do is actually making games, which is great, because in order to learn how to make games, the best thing you can do is just making games. We got a lot of great support there, a lot of great feedback, great rooms. You get all of the equipment you need, so in general, pretty great experience studying there.
Have you seen what they've done to the place now?
Yeah, they have even bigger rooms now, right?
Yeah, not only bigger, but look at like just the design of the spaces and so on. It's like so nice right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang it, why didn't I start later? It's really good looking now. It's very impressive what they've turned the TGS into.
One of the best things about studying game design or something like that is, of course, that you meet a lot of like-minded people. Like, for example, without game school, I would never have met Jan.
Yes. Same here.
I met a lot of other cool people as well. For example, the two guys I made Islanders with. So that was definitely...
You guys made Islanders at game school, right? So
yeah, oh yeah, that is obviously a noteworthy thing to mention, true. Islanders actually started out as a project at game school. That is very true. Okay.
Excluded asks, I don't know, Jonas, will you snail?
Will I? I guess in this run I will snail. I'm not... Or will I actually make it to the end this time? No, I will not. Okay.
Sir Mount asks, would you recommend streaming or YouTube videos to grow an audience?
Would you recommend streaming on YouTube? Was that the question?
No, it's just streaming or YouTube.
Or
videos.
YouTube. I personally would go for YouTube videos because it's a lot harder to grow an audience with live streams, and you have to be a lot more consistent with live streams. But honestly, it comes down to preference. If like, one of the issues you have is that you feel a bit lonely while developing your games, live streams can be a great way to go because, of course, you feel a bit less lonely if you have a handful of people watching you. But at the same time, I feel like you can get more exposure from YouTube videos because they just stay up for longer. And like the videos I made 1 year ago are still getting views, and that is not something that happens with live streams. Yeah, so I would go for YouTube if I were you, but it comes down to preference.
You still have live streams on YouTube that are still viewable too, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can still live stream on YouTube, and they stay viewable if you just keep them up.
Still get more views?
Usually not. Usually people watch live streams live, and then they're like, usually after you live stream, they usually double their views or something like that. So half of the people watching it watch it live, the other half watches after that. But usually they don't get all that many views after the stream is over. Yeah.
Creepy asks, hello from Lower Saxony. Hello.
Hello,
Which
hello.
Bundesland in Germany do you live in?
I'm from Bavaria.
There you go. Bavaria it is. And then a related question. I lined these up properly.
Nice.
A related question is there a game school in Bayern in Bavaria?
Oh yeah, there are a couple of game schools. When picking a game school, you should definitely be a bit picky though, because there are a lot of game schools that don't really teach you anything, or not anything useful. You need to make sure that you pick a game school that is focused on making games, that actually gives you some practical experience, because learning game development completely in theory doesn't really work, in my opinion. Yeah, I've heard that from a couple of people who've been to schools where they don't really make any games, and that usually turns out to be not very useful.
Yeah, and also in my opinion, if I can weigh in on this, I think like if you are at a school where you have to pay lots of money for it, I would be a little bit careful about that.
That is usually a red flag. For one of the issues with that is also that if you go to a school where the only requirement is that you have a lot of money, then you're not necessarily gonna meet super talented people there. You're just gonna meet people who can afford to go there. No offense, of course, to anybody who goes to a school like that. You can still be very talented. I've met a lot of people who are still very talented despite going
yeah, same
to...
here. Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
for sure. But in general, there's a tendency to schools where it's a bit harder to... What's the correct English word? Help me out.
I don't know what you want to say.
Like game schools that have a little bit of a harder application requirements usually tend to have more talented people, and like as I've said earlier, meeting talented people was the #1 thing I got out of game school.
Yes.
So if you can, you want to go there.
And
Plus it's a lot
also,
cheaper. Like yeah.
Like just that basic fact that you don't end up with a lot of debt, because let's face it, in a lot of the areas in game dev, like making money with it is not the easiest thing in the world. So if you have like student debt on top of that, you're gonna have a pretty hard time, or
Yeah.
it's gonna be pretty tough. So I would just be a little bit careful with that. And also the thing is, it's not only about how talented the people are, but also like how willing they are to like push through it. Because if you're already like, if the entry requirement of getting into a school is already like you have to work your ass off, then chances are you get more people who are willing to work their asses off. And I'm not saying like you have to be a workaholic to make games or anything. I'm more for work-life balance, but at game school, usually the projects where the people like to put in the effort turn out the best, in my experience. So it's not just about talent, but also willingness to like put in the work. Anyway, other question. You still hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Very-
I'm just I was just looking at chat, and I'm very close to finishing the level once again, so I'm a little stressed.
Okay, I didn't notice. There's another question. How do you split money with the Grizzly Boys?
I get 1/3. Everybody gets 1/3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty basic.
Yeah. Or maybe we'll not even get that, because one thing people tend to forget is that the money for now, the Islanders' money, belongs to Grizzly Games.
Right, but you do.
We
get a
might
salary.
also use that to pay rent for a studio or something like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Dark's YouTube asks, what course did you take in HTW Berlin? That is game design.
Yeah, that is game design.
Kind of answered the question myself.
The game design course. Like, how the hell did I imagine people could get past that section at the top there? I think it's literally impossible. Like, what the hell did I think? I think, yeah, I guess I named this difficulty impossible, so I guess it makes sense. Still stuck in the second level. I am looking so forward to through the next levels. I think the next levels will be a lot easier, if I manage to get there.
Oh, here's a very interesting question by Hype Man Gaming. What's the hardest part about being indie game dev versus being part of a company? And like ignoring that you can do both at the same time, like you can be part of an indie company and as such be indie dev, but like I think what this person means is like doing kind of your own thing and being like your solo dev or something like that, or very small team and you kind of own it, or being part of a company.
So what's the hardest part about being indie developer?
Yeah, versus
I would say what's the hardest about being an indie developer is also kind of what makes it, for me personally, better or the best about indie game development. That is that you have to do everything yourself. For me, that is great because I love doing a lot of different things, but that also means that you have to know how to do a lot of different things. And usually if you have to wear a lot of hats, like the quality of each individual discipline will be a lot lower. Like if you're making music, art, coding, sound effects, gameplay, if you're doing all of that, then usually the quality suffers quite heavily in all of those sectors. So yeah, I feel like that is the hardest part. Also marketing, because a lot of indie game developers don't want to bother with marketing. But unfortunately, it's necessary to a certain degree.
yeah, it's super important.
Yeah. And if you're working in a company, then usually there are people around who know what they're doing in their respective fields, and you can just focus.
Hopefully.
You can just focus on your thing most of the time, I guess.
That is what you hope.
Yeah.
It's not always the case, but it's more likely.
Okay, I think my best bet here is to just jump over there and then just try to dodge the icicles.
Good luck.
Yeah, didn't work. Because there were two dropping at once, which was really mean.
Dude, how can it be that we're still stuck at this spot and we still have 250 viewers?
That is insane.
You would have thought that by now people would say, he's
yeah.
never gonna make it, so I'm just gonna you have some very dedicated
make it.
fans in here.
Yeah, hopefully we can use the time to answer a couple of questions.
Oh, for sure we can. I just have to read more. What's your thought? So, MKT ATYT, sorry, I can't, this is not pronounceable, but what's your thought on the relation between playtime and price justification of a game?
Unfortunately, yeah, I've noticed that seems to be a thing where people feel like the game's more valuable if they get more playtime per money. And a lot of people seem to think like that, and I kind of understand that thinking. I personally don't support it. I don't think it's the correct way to look at it, because I personally value my time, and what I prefer over a long game is a short game that just delivers during the time I play it, right? I just want quality over quantity. But a lot of people, like, if they spend $20, they want at least 20 hours of playtime. I'm not one of those guys, but you read those Steam reviews all the time where, yeah, I don't think it's worth $10 because it's only 2 hours long, and I'm like, if I'm having fun for 2 hours, then I think it's very worth it. That's my personal opinion. Yeah.
And people kind of, like, what you may not realize is, as a Steam reviewer or something, is that game developers are aware of this, companies are aware of this, and this sort of stuff just leads to designers making choices to kind of pad out game time with grinding and like things that just keep you in it for longer rather than for a better time, because there are those demands, but you only have so many resources.
Yeah. To be honest, even I am thinking about that every now and then for Will You Snail, like how can I add some playtime? Like it's unfortunately it's something you have to think about a little bit. Cause yeah, people really value playtime, a lot of people.
Which is fair, like if someone,
yeah, it's fair, of course, 100% fair.
If someone really likes your game and likes having likes playing through your game, then to want more of that is
the fact
argument.
Yeah, the fact that I don't think that way is just a personal opinion, and people can feel free to have their own opinions.
Yeah.
And
but
yeah, I kind of
lead to lower quality.
Yeah, I guess.
If you always get the message from your fans, oh, I want a longer game, but you still only have the same resources to make the thing, then
I mean,
the quality has to suffer to put in more stuff, right?
But to be fair, if people are asking you for a longer game, that probably means they're enjoying the game, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't ask for more.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I also understand it.
Yeah.
I understand the desire for it.
Yeah, for sure.
But the outcome is often less than desirable, I think, because people don't understand what it means. Ace Sponge asks, what triggers those icicles?
Those icicles are triggered by an AI that predicts my movement, which is why I'm moving back and forth so much, because that way I can trick the AI into thinking I'm gonna go over there. Oh, that actually triggered an icicle. Maybe I can trigger the other two by just going back and forth for long enough. That would be nice.
Good luck.
Oh my god, I've never made it this far. Oh my god. Oh, is this the one? Oh my god, don't mess it up now, Jonas. Like, should I just YOLO in and hope that I get killed on the tree?
Oh, this is very exciting.
No!
Oh.
What was that? That was literally the dumbest way to die there.
Good job.
Oh, that could have been the one.
Well, the thing is now you get to play it for longer, so you get more playtime out of it. See it from this perspective. You're gonna get better reviews.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And the chat is just exploding right now.
Oh, that was so dumb. That was so dumb.
Yambo Games asks, does Will You Snail have alternative routes? I mean, I didn't see much of the game yet, but will the level layouts always be one way, or could you reach the goal with different ways?
In the levels itself, there are multiple routes to take at times.
Yeah.
But in terms of level order, it's very linear, one level after another. However, that is also one of the things my playtesters have requested so far. Less linear gameplay, so perhaps I'll find a way to branch it off here or there. But in general, I guess it'll stay pretty linear.
Yeah, and there's also been this idea of in the community of adding maybe collectibles that are in like hard to reach areas or something like that.
Like there's no lack of ideas in the community. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm really not sure about the release date.
We'll see, but eventually you'll have to bring it out. Right?
Yeah, of course. I just want to bring it out in a state where I'm happy with it, because now I've already invested so much time in it, and I kind of want to release it in a state where I'm happy with it.
Yeah, that feels entirely sensible.
And I feel like, especially once you're at a place where the game is practically finished and you could hit the publish button at any time, I feel like that is an okay thing to do. Because the risk of not being able to finish the game is very low at this point, because I'm always making sure the game stays very, very close to being finished.
Yeah, and also like that would be just such a weird thing to stop now with this community that is built up around it already and so on.
That would be kind of strange, no. Yeah. Community definitely keeps me going. You keep me going. Very nice.
Yes.
You prefer 2D or 3D? I prefer... I guess depends on the game. I don't know.
Hype Man Gaming asks, where do you make your 2D assets?
The graphics for this game are 90% made directly in GameMaker and 10% made in Photoshop. Because GameMaker has a pretty nice pixel art tool that you can just use to create some basic pixel art. And by the way, most of the look of the game right now comes from post-processing like this. This is the game without post-processing, and yeah, this is basically the stuff I draw in GameMaker, and then post-processing just makes it look acceptable, I guess.
It's the art cheat.
Yeah, the art cheat. Post-processing is definitely the art cheat. Oh, that was close.
This is for both Jan and Jonas. What do you fear most when making a game? So is it marketing, or is it playtime, or like what's the thing?
I mean, the
keeps
biggest
you up at night?
Biggest fear when making a game is that either nobody will play it or nobody will like it. For me, I guess that's a pretty common fear.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or what is it for you?
I don't know. Like it depends on the context of making it. So like for Will You Snail, that makes more sense to have like worries about such things because you're just making it alone, right? But there are some other worries that you can have when you're working in a company or in a team of people. And those can be more social issues. And I feel like if you have a pretty good confidence in your own abilities, those can be bigger issues than like thoughts about will I be able to make it?
I mean, if you get a paycheck every month either way, then of course those two factors probably don't concern you as much.
Yeah, well, if you don't care about the stuff you're making, but no, of course, even if you care about the stuff you're making, then you could have situations where like what if your teammates just don't get along with each other? like such problems sometimes can come up and can totally ruin a product.
That's true, but I hope
I've seen that a bunch of times.
Okay.
Not in my own teams.
Okay.
Like my teams have usually been pretty nice, but in the professional world, I've seen that. I've heard a lot of such stories from colleagues and so on, and companies. And like there can always be, like, for every nice team member that you have, there can always be that one crazy creative director who just doesn't understand game design, or like who doesn't understand your ideas, and that can actually be a greater source of fear, if you will, for me, because sometimes it feels like you have no control over it, rather than something like people not liking it.
Yeah, I guess you're definitely right. In bigger teams, those things become more of an issue, or can become more of an issue.
But usually I personally don't have a problem with people. Like, I think I get along with pretty much most people anyway. But it's just a thing, like, if it's not only if you don't get along with people, but also if people around you don't get along with each other, and at that point it's really hard to control and can like blow up in everybody's faces.
I almost had it earlier, but I messed it up. In fact, you can still see that Christmas bulb up there. Sad story. Sad story.
Desmond Mees asks, Jan, will you make a game, both of you? Oh, wait, you mean like together?
We've made a couple of games together, mostly game jam games. For example, if you look up Overcharged on itch or Flubby Farm or something like that. Like we've worked on games together. We even streamed it sometime.
Yeah, it's pretty fun to make games with Jonas, not gonna lie. And then at Game School we made a game called Cake Shift.
Oh yeah.
Just posted in the chat.
Oh yeah, nice. That is a local versus game. If you're looking for a good local versus game, check out Cake Shift. It's pretty epic.
Yeah, it's still a fun game.
It's about two grandpas beating each other up on a giant cake.
What more do you want? Alanelli Fox asks, how do you add post-processing in GameMaker?
You basically have to write a shader, and then you render the entire screen with that shader. So there's no built-in post-processing in GameMaker. It's not quite as easy as in Unity, but actually it's pretty doable. Because if you don't want to write it yourself, you can also just download a shader from the internet. I wrote this post-processing myself, and just for the optimization I had to look a couple of things up. But if you're making games, looking things up is fine. Like, everybody does that.
Spyrex asks, what does the GUI of the game look like?
The menu looks... unfortunately I can't show it because this version of the game doesn't have a menu yet. I think. I'm kind of scared to press escape. Yeah, nothing happens when I press escape.
Oh.
Luckily the game doesn't close. Honestly, if the game closed, it wouldn't have been that bad because...
Right, because it's the second level.
Yeah, first level is kind of easy as well compared to this one.
The difficulty curve is just insane.
Yeah, I guess you don't have to start playing on this difficulty though.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, don't worry, the Steam
better.
release has different difficulty settings as well. So
Yeah.
you can play this as a rage game, but you don't have to play this as a rage game. You can also just play it as a little bit of a frustrating platformer. Like, it's definitely designed to be a little bit frustrating, but like this is this is not for everybody. I can
Sadism.
see that. Yeah.
Darks YT asks, will there be leaderboards with people who got the best times?
Probably. I think there'll probably not be a Steam leaderboard, but I guess there are speedrunning websites where you can post your runs for stuff like that. Reason for that is that usually Steam leaderboards get hacked within just a couple of days, so there's pretty much not really a point to putting a Steam leaderboard in your game, except for maybe a friend's leaderboard. Maybe that would be a thing, right, where you can compare your time to the time of your friends or something like that. But like a public leaderboard where everybody can enter usually gets hacked within a couple of days and maybe pretty much pointless.
But we already do have a quite active speedrunner in our Discord fan server, right?
Yeah, true.
The person, the name's funny. It's called Diggity Ding Dong.
Yeah,
great name.
Got a pretty nice time in this demo, but not on impossible mode. I think he played it on casual, right?
Yeah, it was a casual mode speedrun. But still, very, very still.
F in the chat. I feel like I'm getting better though. I'm making, on average, I'm making it a lot further in this level. Maybe it's not as impossible as I thought.
Getting up there more often. Ping 764 asks, Jonas, do you prefer Unity or GameMaker and why? Question mark, question mark.
What a fantastic question. I have never heard that question ever. Woo! Just kidding. I don't mind answering it for the 20th time. Obviously, both engines come with different upsides and downsides. I like them for different reasons. Unity is, in my opinion, better for 3D stuff. GameMaker is a little better for 2D stuff. GameMaker is better for smaller games, like for game jams. Unity is better for bigger games, for commercial releases, etc., etc. Yeah, because Unity, of course, is a 3D engine. GameMaker is a 2D engine, so that should explain itself. And then in GameMaker, unfortunately, when you create bigger projects, it gets a little can get a little ugly to organize. So that's why I usually prefer Unity for bigger projects. Also, if you make a commercial game, Unity has a little bit of a nicer support for other platforms, and just in general, bug fixing, etc., etc., is a little nicer to handle on Unity. On GameMaker, there are some very weird issues sometimes that you don't really know how to fix. And if you in Unity, you have weird issues as well. But the good thing about Unity is that if you Google for long enough, usually find somebody who had the same issue, and you can find a way to fix it. In GameMaker, that's not necessarily always the case.
Yeah, the Unity community is just incredibly helpful and big.
Okay, you apparently need to be super patient in this level. Like, manage to get up here again, and now I'll just run back and forth here. I'm really super looking forward to
You've been in this level for over an hour. So.
Oh, really? Oh, damn. Better make it work now then. I can feel it. This is the one. This is the one. I'll make it work. I'll just go back and forth here till at least another spike drops. Here we go. Okay. Okay, debated. Now I'm just gonna go for it. Yes! Yes! Oh my god!
Oh my god, yeah!
Yes! Very nice. Oh yes. Oh yes. Whew. Let's take a little bit of a break. Oh, epic.
Amazing. Just in. Stop the presses. Hold the news. Game developer manages to beat his own game.
Sorry, did you say something?
Yeah, it said, this just in. Hold the presses. News. Game developer manages to beat his own game.
Okay. Luckily,
it feels amazing though when you do it, right?
Oh yeah. This is the first time I've beaten that level on impossible difficulty.
Congratulations, man. I know that's very hard because I tried that too and I just couldn't get past.
Okay, nice. This level should be a lot easier, in fact. It's a lot harder than it looks. It looks like just a little bit of basic platforming. It's actually, if you try it yourself, it's actually quite tricky, but compared to the last one, peanuts. Peanuts.
Have you beaten all of the other individual levels once with this mode?
Merry Christmas. What a beautiful moment.
No, there's one more level that I haven't beaten yet.
Okay, so 1 more hour at least.
We'll see. We'll see. This is a pretty mean level. Like here we have these presents that just keep jumping around at random, which is pretty tough to dodge because they're moving so unpredictably. And yeah, I mean, they as well have a little bit of an AI that just tries to predict what you're doing and tries to get in your way and tries to be as annoying as possible. But I feel like this is very doable. I almost got to the end there.
What exactly defines the difficulty level is the question.
I can show you the game on a lower difficulty later when we've beaten it on Impossible. In 10 hours. But the main difference is enemies are faster. So the icicles dropping from the ceiling are a lot faster. These enemies right here are a lot faster. So you need to react more quickly and you need to try even harder to outmaneuver these enemies.
Snooty HQ asks, how many levels are in this demo? Was it 4? I think it's more.
I think it's 9 levels or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Easy peasy. Like, I'm telling you, I'm so good at this game. After that one level in the beginning, nothing can hurt me anymore. This level is kind of annoying, because you're not allowed to touch any of these snowflakes right here. And there are quite a lot of them. So yeah, once again, a little bit of a patience test. Oh, 300 deaths already. Let me see. Oh yeah. You can actually see the death count when you die. That's 306 deaths so far. Actually, I've expected it to be a lot worse.
I have way more deaths on the normal game, on the full game.
Yeah, but the full game has a lot more levels already.
That is true.
Oh, what the hell?
Pew, pew, pew. I know it's still there.
Okay.
But let's get started with the fireworks.
Sheepdog asks,
Wait any longer.
will you add any lore to Will You Snail?
That is a much requested feature, so yes, I will do it. And the main game already has a little bit of lore, but people were still asking me for more, because basically what the main game does at the moment is it opens a lot of questions, but it doesn't answer any questions.
Exploding
And
snails are still the best
apparently,
kind of fireworks.
that is not the way to do it. And what's pretty mean about this level as well is that there's still a couple of snowflakes you're not allowed to touch, like this one right here. And by the way, this is the other level that I think I haven't beaten so far, because it has a lot of mean stuff. It has icicles, it has snowflakes I'm not allowed to touch, and it has fireworks. Yeah, pretty hard. Let's see how long this takes me.
Special little snowflake.
Oh, you gotta check your Discord, Jonas, your server. Nick has just told me, and it's great. Like that should totally be an emote. Should make that one.
Okay, can I check it out on stream, or is it something inappropriate?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
It's you. Well, depending on how inappropriate you find your face, it's like
Okay.
that's for you to decide.
Like where can I find it?
General.
General, okay. Burp, 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 burp. Okay, that's pretty cool. Let me see if I can get that on screen. My crazy face. It's a little small. Can you zoom this in?
The next crazy face.
Very nice.
Yeah. I have to remember to make this an emote later.
And what is this? This Christmas Jonas?
Yeah, that's Christmas Jonas.
Okay. Oh, by the way, do I need to move the image of me somewhere else here maybe for this level? Is this fine? Yeah, I guess this corner works. You just won't see me die when I die right at the beginning then. Where's my mouse? I can't find my mouse. Okay.
Steffo Spieler asks, wait, you did it?
Yes. I actually did it. It was pretty insane. Still can't believe it. But we still have this level ahead of us, which is tricky.
Oh, this one's nice for your ego. Ace Sponge asks, by the way, did you direct the trailer alone? It's so fun to watch again and again. Have you used any techniques or guides?
The Will You Snail trailer?
I guess that's the one.
Yes. I mean, that one is just something very rudimentary I put together so I could get my Steam page up and running.
But it's apparently so fun to watch again and again.
I'm very happy. Yeah, that strokes my ego. You're right. Thank you. I appreciate it. The way I went about making the trailer is more or less I just had a look at all of the footage I had, took out the most awesome looking, engaging parts of my footage and edited it all together to fit the music. Made the music beforehand. That's it. Yeah. So
easy peasy.
Easy? No, not really easy peasy, but a couple of hours of work. Oh, I guess I recorded a couple of custom voice lines for the trailer as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Sheepdog asks, how long do you expect the full game to take?
People have told me very different stories, everything ranging from 10 hours to 2 hours. I guess the average is about 3.
And how long do you expect it to take in terms of developing? Once you're done, from the very beginning to when you're done, like what's your estimated time?
I mean, it's already pretty hard to tell how long it took me from start to here because it was very on and off development. Like I started this game before I made Islanders, so I made Islanders while also working on Will You Snail, which makes it a bit tricky to tell. I have to think about that. I think I've been working on this for a year now. I feel like that is fair to say, because 1 year ago, of course, the game was already quite far, but if you consider the fact that I didn't really work on it that actively and took a lot of breaks, then I think I've been working on it for 1 year. Sounds about fair. I don't know. And it'll take me at least 4 more months, 3 more months to finish. At least. Maybe more. I don't know.
That.
Yeah. I'll try my best.
No, genuinely.
Yeah. Actually, I've been thinking about making a couple fewer YouTube videos next year, so I can finish this game, because I'm spending a lot of time on YouTube. Like half of my week is spent on YouTube, and that just makes progress on this game very slowly. Very slow. It's the correct word. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see.
Darks YT asks, what's that communist server, Jonas? I think you're confusing communist with community. Could that be the case?
No. The person was probably referring to this user here, which is not a server. That's just somebody having that as an icon. That's not one of the servers I'm on. No worries.
What's that communist? Oh, that's funny.
I'm a communist at heart. No, not really.
Samuel Rauer asks, so what's your next project gonna be?
Next project is gonna probably start in spring, which is also why I'm a little bit on a timer with Will You Snail, which stresses me out a bit. I have to finish this game within the next 4 months, because then I'll start a new project with Grizzly Games. So with the 2 guys I made Islanders with, we want to make another game. Because we just really liked that team constellation and we made a good game, so we want to try it again. And that will happen in spring to 2020. And I'll try my best to create some devlogs this time around. I'm a little sad that I recorded so little footage of the Islanders development, because that would have been really fun to look at in retrospect. Yeah.
Useless idiot, and that's not me saying that, that's literally the name, asks, did you watch did you watch GMTK's trailer video?
Trade-off?
Trailer, I think.
Trailer.
Video
Oh yeah. I
trailers?
saw that. Yeah, I saw that. That's a good place to get started. I'll probably have a look at that again when I make the final game trailer. Like, sharing my stuff on YouTube always gives me some really great feedback. Like, people have given me a lot of very useful feedback on my trailer already. Like, editing is too fast. You can't really see what's going on because editing is just way too fast. So when I make the final Steam trailer, I'll make sure to slow down the editing a little bit and make sure you can actually see what's happening. Yeah. And then I'll probably go with a very basic trailer structure, a cold open where there's something interesting at the beginning of the video that keeps you watching. Then the trailer's gonna go slow down a little bit. Tensions slowly start building up, and then it'll once again end on a high that hopefully wants you to see more, so you get the game. That's the basic game plan for a trailer.
There you go. Ice Gold asks, what's left to finish with Will You Snail?
All of the levels are finished, so what's left to be finished is mostly stuff I want to add to make the game even better. Localization is a big thing. Like, I want to launch the game with a couple of additional languages if possible. That would be absolutely awesome. And then there are just a lot of features that I think would make the game a lot better. Like, having a little bit of additional storytelling, I feel like that would add a lot to the game. Having a couple more voice lines, having a couple more levels, having a couple more secrets. So it's mostly polishing stuff and adding a couple of small things here and there. I actually made it quite far in this run. Yeah.
Angie on Discord asks, can it be that Jonas only dies so that the stream can go on longer?
No, that is not the case. I'm actually trying. It's pretty hard. Like, the most annoying thing...
or trying to die?
No, I'm not trying to die. The most annoying thing in this level are by far the snowflakes.
That you cannot see?
Yeah, there are a couple of snowflakes you are allowed to touch, and there are a couple of snowflakes you're not allowed to touch. If you look really closely, you can tell them apart, but it's pretty hard to see. And focusing on that and focusing on the icicles and on the firework at the same time is just a bit much. Will we get there? Were you ever tempted to pitch this game to publishers? Oh yeah, for sure. Mostly due to the fact that translating this game into different languages with full audio support would be very expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Riley's question. Were you ever tempted to pitch this? Oh, that's exactly.
Yeah,
the
that's the question.
I have a question. It says, Oki Nus, does the AI you programmed sometimes surprise you?
No, it doesn't surprise me. Whenever it does something, I pretty much know why it did it. Like, as I've said earlier, it's a pretty basic AI. It's not based on machine learning or anything like that. It's just a very, very simple algorithm that tries to predict where you'll be in X amount of time.
Sheepdog asks, why didn't you pitch this game to publishers?
Mostly because it comes with a lot of extra management time involved, right? Like, it's not, you have to reach out to publishers, you have to pitch it, you have to agree on a deal, and then from that point on it's just gonna be a lot of back and forth between you and the publisher. And as much as it can save you time in certain areas like marketing, etc., it's also quite a big time commitment, I feel like. So if you wanna get your game out of the door quickly, if you would just wanna publish it, then I'm not sure. Also, one thing to consider is that you are in a way better bargaining position if your game's already finished. So if you somehow have the luxury to develop your game first and then reach out to publishers, that's obviously a lot better.
How did you have the luxury to do that?
I have the luxury to do that due to Islanders. I have a little bit of a financial buffer now. Also, I'm living at home with my dad, so even if I didn't have any income, it would probably still be fine as well. To be honest, like I had really fortunate starting positions, which is not fair, but that's the way it is.
That's something you can't just cheat.
Yeah.
Just how life goes. Pixel Dan says, so hi Jonas, I want to be a game developer sometime. What would you suggest to avoid when making a game?
Avoid making long games when you're just getting started. Make smaller games.
Yep. That's pretty much the most important advice for sure.
Other than that, try to make marketable games. Like, don't try to create a piece of art only you will like, but try to think about what people might actually want. Of course, if you create something you personally like, that's the argument I hear a lot, is if you create something you will like, then other people will probably like it as well. And I think that is true to a certain degree, but also you can increase your chances other people will like your game by just being a little smart about what you make. Like, for example, to be honest, Will You Snail, I'm not quite sure if I made the correct call in terms of appeal and marketability. It seems to be it seems to be more of a niche game for sure, because the fantasy of going up against an evil AI and being a little snail character, I feel like doesn't have a lot of general appeal. It'll appeal to some people for sure, but I think I probably could have done better if I had thought about it for a bit longer. Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm regretting my decision, but I'm regretting not thinking about it a little more before jumping into this. Yeah.
Fabian Beber asks, will it be available for Mac too?
I think we've answered that question earlier, maybe. Basically, the way I'll go about Mac and Linux support is I'll just give it a shot, right? I'll make a Linux build, I'll make a Mac build, because that is pretty simple to do in GameMaker. You basically just press one button, and then I'll see how many issues come up. I'll give it to a couple of playtesters, see if it runs fine, and if it runs fine, then there will probably be an official Mac and Linux release as well. But if there are a lot of issues, then probably no, because I have no idea how to fix those issues usually on Linux. I'm not very familiar with that platform, and also I can't offer any good tech support for people encountering issues with my game. And that is usually not a situation I want to be in, where I can't offer proper tech support to people who are experiencing issues with my game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when do you plan to hit that button?
When?
Yes.
That Linux button, or that export button in general?
Export in Linux and Mac.
Yeah, probably.
So test it.
Probably pretty close to the end when it's almost done, because right now I feel like there are more important things to focus on. Yeah, like it's sad when you're a Mac user or a Linux user that you're always getting that little priority, but unfortunately the sad truth is that the Mac and Linux users are definitely the huge minority on Steam. Oh my god. No, I made it so far. And as I said earlier, of course, I want everybody to be able to play this game. So I'll try my best, but I can't promise anything. Sorry.
Tigro asks, have you contacted any other YouTubers and tried to get them involved in Will You Snail?
I'll do that once I'm ready to launch the game. I'd love to get a lot of YouTubers involved. I feel like that is, if any, that will be one of the strengths of this game, will be content creators, streamability.
Yeah, we're testing that right now.
Yeah, we're testing that right now. Like, apparently it's not super dumb to watch, because otherwise there wouldn't be 200 people here still watching this. And I mean, this is even a bit more boring than the final game will be, because the final game has a lot more voice lines for the AI. The final game is not that hard, so you can progress a little more quickly. So I feel like content creators and streamers, I'm betting quite a lot on that. We'll see how well it works out. We'll see.
HellXSun asks, hi, I have 2 questions. First, did you study in Berlin? That's a yes.
Yes.
Second, are you interested to translate this game into Polish? I think we already have someone translating it to Polish, right?
Yes, I think so as well. We can check that in a sec. Like, we have almost 50 translators on the Will You Snail Discord already, and that's just people from the community who have offered to help with the translation for free, which I'm super grateful for. Like, that
the amount of support on that is crazy.
That is insane.
Amazing.
Like, I didn't expect that whatsoever. Yeah, so that helps a ton.
And about the translation, could I message you on the Discord? Go
Yes.
to the Will You Snail Discord.
Yeah, the link to the Will You Snail Discord should be in the description as well. So if you want to help with the translation, then that is the place to go, and then just shoot me a message. And I'll get back to you once I can. Only thing I can offer for now is your name in the credits. Unfortunately. And the reason for that is, of course, that for some reason people are offering to do it for free, so why should I pay anyone if I can get it for free?
Evil Jonas.
Yeah. No, I'm quite grateful. That is for sure.
Adrian KS asks, are those 50 translators also doing voice acting?
Nope. We'll think about voice acting once all of the voice lines are set into stone. Like, there are still a couple of voice lines will still be added, a couple of voice lines will probably still be changed. And once all of the voice lines are set into stone, I'll try to figure out a way to hopefully translate the game at the very least into the most important languages, that being Brazilian, Portuguese, English, French, German, and a couple more that I forgot. Yeah, that would be nice, but also I can't promise anything, because like, I asked one company how much they would take for translating the game into 5 languages, including audio files, and their offer was 25k. And I thought about it for a bit, and I thought, no. So we'll see. Maybe I'll find a cheaper way to do it, or will not have any. Yeah.
So there was a question about whether there's a Hungarian translation already, and yes, and it's completely 100% translated to Hungarian already.
Yes, the subtitles, yeah.
Yeah. Not voice, but like, we're just talking about like written form. And then someone asks, will it get translated into Deutsch, into German? And yes, it's at 76.35% translated in German, so we're getting there.
Yeah,
we're getting pretty close.
Yeah, but that's for subtitles only as well.
Yes. Yeah, we're just talking
Yeah.
about subtitles, no voice lines yet, none of that. Just only, but like, let me go through the list so everybody's questions are answered. We're at 76% German, 100% Russian, that's already done, 28% Polish, 93% Czech, so that's almost done. Portuguese, Portugal is at 75%. Portuguese, Brazil is at 100%, it's done. French is at 56%. Iraqi is at 30%. Jonas is having fun.
Sorry, keep going.
Spanish is at 42%. Lithuanian is at 39%. Hungarian, as I said, is done. Korean is at 11%. Latvian is at 43%. Finnish is completely finished. Haha. Hebrew is at 99.5%. Come on, that last voice line's gotta be somewhere. Swedish is at 65%. Hindi is at 8%. Serbian is at 25%. Italian is 100% done. And Chinese is at 10%.
Yeah, and at that point, of course, another big thank you to all of the translators. I really can't thank you enough. Like, that includes a lot of languages I didn't even plan to have a translation for, honestly. But people just reached out and told me, hey, it would be nice to translate this game into blah blah blah. And of course I'm like, yeah, that would be cool. Why the hell not? Yeah.
Yep.
For a second that you were reading out those languages all sounded like you're reading your gene analysis or something like that. 22% German, 89% Czech.
Stats about my genes.
Yeah.
So, like, anyone who didn't hear their language mentioned now and would like to do a translation, feel free to reach out.
Oh yeah, but
We'd
even
love to have you.
but even if the language was mentioned, there are still a couple of languages where I think the translators would be happy about some additional help.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, proofreading alone, even just that, just to ensure higher quality translations and like putting little comments into the.
Yeah, although let's not forget that
multiple-
I'll probably add quite a couple more voice lines because people have asked for more story and that will require a lot more text, and so there's more work coming, unfortunately, for translators. So if you want to help, just let us know. Or let
I
me
got
know.
the impression that our translators mostly enjoyed this thing.
Oh yeah. Luckily, yes, yeah. And I hope that they'll have their game in a good game. Yeah. Let's try to make a good game, to make it worth the effort.
Tigro asks, even though it is a rage game, will there be an assist mode like Celeste?
Yes. Or at the very least, there will be lower difficulty settings. So the game will not be this hard. This is on impossible difficulty. There will be 4 difficulty settings, and in the final game, the difficulty settings are called easy, very easy, extremely easy, and infinitely easy. Yeah. So easy is the impossible mode in the Steam release. Because that was a big issue I had for a long time, where when I called the difficulty settings casual, hard, impossible, normal, that people felt pretty discriminated by the naming if they played on something like casual. Like, it didn't feel very very nice to play on casual difficulty, because you're like, oh no, I'm playing this on the lowest difficulty. I'm such a noob. So now what I did is I just gave all of the difficulty settings discriminating names, and suddenly I feel like it's a lot better. Like, nobody has complained about it since. Yeah, pretty funny.
So Kid Kyle asks, how much is the Dutch translation? And actually, we have no Dutch translation yet. So if you want to do it, do it. Feel free to join the Discord.
Sure.
One's doing Dutch yet.
Just to warn you though, for now it's already about 1,000 voice lines or 600 or something like that.
That's a lot. Yeah.
So yeah. But
Huge
of course,
props to everyone who already did it.
yeah. But of course, if you want to help with the translation, there's absolutely no obligation for you to finish it. Like every line you can contribute helps, of course.
So Mino asks a lot of times actually, can you make a tutorial for how to make a game like this one?
I guess. I prefer to make a little more general tutorials lately, so people can hopefully just get started with making games and then learn how to figure all of these stuff out themselves. I guess I can make some more specific tutorials at some point as well. Problem with more specific tutorials is that people keep asking in a lot of different directions. Like some people want me to show how to do this kind of game, others want me to show how to do that kind of game, so I feel like, yeah, I can't, unfortunately, will never be able to cover all of those tutorial requests.
Look, that's so awesome. I just got a message, DM on Discord from Killian Gamer saying, hello, I'm here to offer myself as a free translator for the language Dutch. I'm not sure if you already have someone, but look, it's like they're just coming to us. That's pretty awesome.
That's nice.
So, yes.
Very nice.
Write a message to Jonas and he can add you to the local file. Also join the Will You Snail Discord and we can add you as a translator with the translator role. And then you can see the entire process and you can get access to the local file and all that.
Damn it.
That wasn't a comment on the localization.
No. And yeah. I initially thought this level would be easier than level 2. I'm not so sure about that anymore. Because at the very least in level 2 you could pause for a second, take some time to think, but here are these fireworks going on all of the time, which means you can't stop moving. It's so annoying.
Rainbow Six Thermite asks, does the game have any Easter eggs?
Not yet, but it will have some Easter eggs. I'll put some in there. Kind of goes hand in hand with a lot of people requesting more storytelling. So I guess I'll put in the storytelling as Easter eggs, or a lot of storytelling as Easter eggs. Because I also don't want to stretch out the main game for too long. I don't want to force people to read too much text or listen to too much story stuff if all they want to do is just play a platformer game. So I feel like Easter eggs are a decent way to give people more information about lore if they care about it.
Yeah, I think they would fit really well into the puzzle levels, like as optional rewards or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, true.
Because there you actually have time to
True, yeah.
look and see what they are and look at them and so on, if you put something.
If I manage to put this...
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. It's a little hard to coordinate who speaks over
Yeah.
Discord because you never know.
It is. It's sometimes hard to do that in real life.
Oh yeah. Yeah, all I was about to say was some nonsense about how I'll be the first one to beat this game on Impossible, but the longer I think about it, maybe not, because this level is hard. I feel like in terms of watchability, the second level was probably better because when I got really far, I could pause for a second, which kind of built up the tension. And here it's more like, yeah, either I beat it or not, right? There's not as much time for the tension to develop.
Yeah, Miko-chan asks, aren't those fireworks a little too RNG?
Yeah. On this difficulty, yeah. They are too RNG, which by the way is why in the Steam release even the hardest difficulty is quite a bit easier. Because I wanted every difficulty to feel at least somewhat fair. Like, of course, the RNG of this game is kind of one of the unique selling points. Like, it's a rage game where you can't rely purely on muscle memory, if you will. So there's a bit of RNG involved for sure. But in the Steam release, it's a bit easier, for sure. It doesn't feel quite as unfair.
So Antonio Gonzalez asks, how's the AI guessing your position? Each game, each round? I'm freaking out! For some reason, this person is also freaking out. But like, how's the AI actually guessing your position?
Oh yeah, I guess I haven't explained that yet. Basically, all it does is it executes your movement function multiple times to see where you'll be in half a second, and then it sets you back to where you were at the beginning of the frame and just executes the movement function once. So it basically just looks into the future and sees where you'll be in a half second or something like that if you don't change your button inputs. And then to make it a bit more sophisticated, sometimes I tell those 50, 60 movement functions that I calculate ahead of time to put a jump in there or to change the direction or something like that. Because before that there were a couple of exploits where you could just move like this and then nothing would hit you. But that's not possible anymore. Yeah. It's a very simple AI for sure.
Lawmania asks, is this a special Christmas level for now or a real part of the game?
Both, because this level is not in the final game, but a recycled version of this is in the game. I've took what I've learned from this level and built a better version of this for the final game. So if you play the Steam release, you will recognize this level, but it will look a lot different and it will not have a Christmas theme.
Ziv Halperin asks a pretty interesting question. Have you ever almost quit development on Will You Snail?
That's a good question. Probably the closest I was to quitting was at the beginning of the project, because this started out as a small mini game that I never intended to turn into a bigger game. But ever since I decided to turn this into a full game, I've actually been pretty excited about the idea, to be honest. Yeah, so I don't think I was that... No, actually no. I was never all that close to quitting for this one. To be fair, I've quit a lot of game projects in the past, so I'm definitely guilty. I've started a lot of game projects I've never finished. Yeah. Which makes it even more special when you find a game that you're excited enough about to really go through with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But maybe it's also just a little bit of the experience that if I start something new now, then at some point I'll be at a point again where I want to quit. So that cycle has repeated so many times for me, where I quit, create something new, then I quit again because I lose motivation, etc., etc. And I feel like I've went through that cycle so many times that I'm also starting to get a bit tired of it.
Ani Mesuro asks, how do you review if the translation is accurate if you don't know the language?
I mean, that mostly comes from the fact that we have multiple translators per language, and then of course I have to trust that if one translator writes something that's complete garbage, the other translators will tell me. And then of course at the end I'll make sure that a couple of independent people who never were in contact with the previous writers do some proofreading. Yeah, because the last thing you want is translators putting in some trolley stuff there, right, that gets you in trouble. That would not be nice.
Yeah.
But for the most part, by the way, I completely trust my translators. Most of the people who reach out to me for translating are super nice. And yeah, I've not had any issues with that so far.
Helexan asks, do you plan another game with the Grizzly team? The answer to that is yes, right?
Yes. I feel like we should maybe try not to answer the exact same questions multiple times. It's too close together.
Swag017 asks, on which Steam game do you have the most hours?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, if you include software, then it's Game Maker.
It's not a game.
If it's only games, actually we can check that. I'm not sure. Maybe Portal?
Portal 2?
Maybe Portal 2, maybe the Talos Principle, or maybe something completely unexpected. Very good question. I'm actually curious to find out as well. But one thing I can tell you is that I'm not a person who plays games for a very long time. I like short games. I like short, juicy, quality games. Oh
Is there
man,
any plans?
this level.
Are there any plans for when the soundtrack will be released? I'm in love with the trailer and final boss themes, and I need to hear them without the SFX. By Chris64.
Thank you very much for your passion about the soundtrack. The soundtrack will come out on launch day as a DLC probably, and I'll upload it on YouTube a couple of days after launch. And then a couple of days later I will probably publish the MIDI files, and then we can have a nice little remix competition or something like that. Definitely looking forward to sharing that with you. Yeah. Glad so many people are enjoying the soundtrack.
Yep. Hey, Kid Kyle, again, like the best way if you want to do the Dutch translation is to join the Will You Snail Discord server and reach out to Jonas and me there. Jonas just needs to have your email address so you can get the editing rights to the local file.
Yeah. If you want to translate, just reach out on Discord. And then there's also once you're added as a translator there, you can find all of the information you need on directly on Discord as well.
Ooh, did something happen?
Yes!
Finally,
Did you beat it?
Happy New Year.
Yes.
That sounds good.
I did it. Yeah, like that was so random as well. Like I didn't even expect it to beat it.
Well, congratulations. Sheepdog asks, will playtesters get credits?
Playtesters, yes. Yep. Everybody who helps will get credit.
This year,
So
I don't
people
mind
in
giving
Discord with
credit as well.
beta tester. All those with beta tester role.
Yeah.
get
All of
credits.
the people who help translating or beta testing, I'll put them in the credits.
Yep, makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so this level is just an insane amount of fireworks, which
It's the last level, right?
yeah, it's the last level. If I beat this, then I've beaten the entire game on impossible difficulty. Honestly, I was afraid this would take a lot longer, and I'm kind of positive that I'll be able to beat this. I know it's a lot of fireworks, but this is one of the levels I've actually beaten before on impossible, so that makes me confident that I can do it.
Yeah, this is one of those levels that look a lot more crazy than they are.
Yeah, I mean it's not easy, but it's doable. Bam, 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 bam. Hope you're all getting in a Christmassy mood by now. Somebody wrote in chat, Joseph Ben Jones, you are valuable at me. Thanks for stroking my ego. Appreciate it. That is exactly what I want to see when I look at chat.
Nice.
From now on, only read out stuff that strokes my ego. Just kidding.
Hernan Diaz, yes, people have already fully translated to Brazilian Portuguese, but if you want to help out, reach out to us on the Will You Snail Discord.
Yeah, usually I allow the people who are translating to a language to decide themselves if they want to accept more translators for a language, because as you all know, too many people working on the same thing is sometimes not that helpful either. So we'll have to ask the other translators, of course, before you join if they want your help. But usually for a couple, for most languages, your help will be appreciated. And actually, I've spent the last week answering so many questions, so many PMs on Discord. I was kind of hoping that that would die down now, but now we've mentioned it so many times that I bet I'll be answering Discord messages for the next 2 years. Not 2 years.
2
Whoa!
years!
I did it, but for the next...
Nice. Good
For the
work.
next weeks.
Well done. Congratulations.
Yes,
actually beat the
we
game.
did it. Oh my god. And it's only 855 deaths. Impossible difficulty, 855 deaths. I challenge you, download the game, link is in the description for the winter demo. Can you beat this on impossible difficulty with fewer deaths? If you manage to do so, make sure to send me the screenshot. But you won't, because I'm the best at this game, what can I say? Yeah. Epic. Like, how long did this take me? 2 hours. So, that's a shame for everybody who thought it would take me longer.
GG.
Very
GG
nice.
indeed.
GG. Yeah, I guess I can stop streaming now.
You're legally allowed
Yeah,
to stop.
I'm legally allowed to stop streaming now.
Didn't you want to show off what it's like in casual, just for the contrast?
Oh yeah, we can do that. Good point. And then we'll do another little question round, and then I guess we'll call it a day. So for casual, like what is the speedrun record right now? Maybe we can try to contest that.
Oh yeah, it's
Well, I
like
feel
just
like
over a minute or so.
Let's celebrate Christmas and New Year's together.
Wait,
Ah,
let
damn
me
it,
let me
yeah,
try to look it up.
Already messed up that speedrun though.
Oh, what? How did you do that so quickly?
Let's
I don't
go to
understand.
record.
Would you be so kind and help me to decorate the tree? After that, you'll get
Oh yeah, I
your
think
presents.
it's at 1:25.
Yeah, that looks beautiful. Keep
1
going.
minute and
Keep
25
lighting up
seconds.
the tree.
Oh my god, this level is so easy on casual. This is insane.
Just run
OMG,
through that.
why do you keep dying there?
Like the contrast to impossible is so crazy. What the
Alright.
hell?
Very nice. That looks beautiful. Hope you're ready to
Oh, the
receive
record
your
is
presents.
125.
Yep.
And the speedrunners even in chat himself.
Already preparing your
Yeah, I'm not gonna beat that in this run.
Merry Christmas.
And now look at
Beautiful moment.
how slow these presents are. Like, what a joke.
They're really slow.
Yeah. Yeah, so the difficulty settings changed a couple of things. For example, in this level, there are just also quite a couple less of these snowflakes. Yeah, you still have to be a little patient to beat this, unfortunately. Here we go.
Pew, pew, pew. I know it's still early, but let's get started with the fireworks. I can't wait any longer.
Yeah, first try. And this will be a first try as well.
Finally midnight. Happy New Year. What? No, I can't believe it's already over. No, 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 no.
So how many deaths was that?
No.
Would have been awesome if I managed to do 0 deaths. No, that was 11 deaths. Okay. Yeah, but as you can see, it's a lot easier on casual. That was probably under 2 minutes. Very nice. Bling, bling, bling. Okay. Okay. Let's read chat for a couple more minutes, and then I'm gonna say Merry Christmas, etc., and call it a day. Somebody asks you, what do you think about Microsoft XNA? What is
Well,
that
to
actually?
be honest, I'm looking it up right now.
Okay.
It's a technology for developing games for Windows. I've never heard of it, to be honest. Like, I couldn't possibly tell you what I think of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh.
I have no idea.
Peep Dog, did I actually manage to finish it in 1:15? Really? No, that can't be right.
Nah.
No.
You didn't just beat the speedrun records.
No.
I call shenanigans.
Favorite letter of the alphabet. I mean,
Why?
one time in a game jam, I set the attack button to J, which is the beginning of my name, and I got a lot of crap for doing so. So I'm not gonna answer that question.
But I think, like, for a lot of people, it's actually the first letter of your name. For me, it is. Like, just out of pure spite to the J crowd. Which is you, I guess.
Have you ever made a phone app? Yes. 3. I've published 3 games on the App Store. None of them were successful. They're all deleted by now because I didn't update them. And if you don't update your games, the storefronts just delete your game, which makes sense, I guess. But they were fun. But I didn't know anything about marketing, which is not good if you're making a mobile game, because standing out on mobile is hard. Who would have known? Would
Also,
you
Sheepdog
consider...
says it's now 2:30. What's your time?
Okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because, I would have to cut that in half almost to beat the time.
Yeah, the record is
The
still
current
insane.
record, yeah. XNA is Microsoft's game framework, but it's pure code, no editor or anything.
Okay, then I don't like it. Sorry.
Yeah,
I've
not seen
I don't
it,
like that.
maybe. Yeah, having an editor is nice.
I like editors. I like editors way too much to do like console stuff or something like that.
Yeah. Whenever you say something like... Whenever you say something like that, Jan, you always have to say, but no offense to anybody who uses it, I'm sure you can make excellent games with it. Otherwise, people will get very mad.
I am sure, but I just don't like to develop that way. That's all I'm saying. Wait, there was this question that you started asking, would you consider having more voice acting in future games?
Mm-hmm. Actually, yes, but I'll be a lot more careful about it next time. Because to come back to Outer Wilds, which we talked about earlier in this stream, Outer Wilds is a game where you have to do a lot of reading, but it's one of the first games where the reading didn't bother me at all. Most of the time, I'm one of the first guys to say, no, get the text out of my face. I don't want to do any reading in this game. But in Outer Wilds, it didn't bother me at all, which I found very fascinating. And I think the reason for that is, one, that the text is kind of interactive. You have a little scanner, and you have to use that to decode that alien font that you can't read otherwise. So you kind of have to look around. It feels a bit more active. It's just not a giant block of text that you have to read, but you still have to interact a little bit with the game while reading, which made it a bit nicer. And also the second point, which I feel is the deciding factor, is that you can actually use the information you find in those texts. Like, as I've said, the entire progression system of Outer Wilds is completely information-based, and you get the information from text files. So the information you acquire in those text files is actually useful for you and helps you to do really cool stuff in the game. So, for example, there's a water planet in the game where you can't get into the core, but you can figure out how to get into the core by reading the text files. And whenever you find something like that in the game, or find a clue to something like that, that somehow made it really encouraging for me to read all of the text in that game. Like, isn't that surprising? Usually when you find text in a game, you're like, no, I don't want to read that. And this time, every time I found new text pieces, I was really, really happy. I was like, yeah, more text. Give it to me. I want to read it.
Yeah, that is actually really
interesting.
Special. That is really rare.
You have to build your own engine and game like Celeste and Terraria. Wait a sec, I don't quite understand that. The no speak. Probably because I suck at reading.
Was that with XNA still? Is that the thing?
Maybe it's still referring to XNA, maybe.
I think
I'm
so.
not sure. Okay.
I think so.
Water. Oh yeah, water is a good idea. No, I'm out of water. Well, good thing we've already managed to beat the game. Water. Uncomfortable silence.
Well, you're able to read questions now. I've read so many questions. It's your turn.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What's your take on open source game dev? And as in the game is open source. I think that's a pretty cool idea. I'm not sure if it's commercially viable. Like, I know there are ways to make open source games work commercially, but honestly, I haven't done a lot of research on that. I'm not sure what the correct way of doing that is. Yeah, but in general, I'm really excited about sharing Will You Snail stuff with the community as well. Like, I want you to create awesome stuff with what I've created. Like, I don't mind if you do Will You Snail remixes. I don't mind if you use Will You Snail sprites to create your own games. So I'm looking forward to sharing all of that, which of course is not the same as crowdsourcing, but goes into a similar direction. I like that kind of stuff. Yeah.
We now have a crazy Jonas Claus
What is
emote.
crazy? Okay. Do we have the emote in Discord now?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good Pixels made us
Oh, no.
made that for us. Thank you,
Okay,
Good
awesome.
Pixels.
Which number is better, 64 or 69? That is a tough question. Because, of course, 46. Yeah, 46 is of course, if you ask a programmer, then 46 has to be the answer.
46? Wait, what?
No, 64. Damn it! My English is so bad. I apologize. F's in the chat. Are you going to the new Star Wars movie? Yes, I think so. Yes. I'll have a look at it with friends. I'm not super excited about it, but I guess I'll have to watch it. Let's give Disney some money.
That's the sole motivation for going into this. Disney doesn't have enough money.
Thanks for nothing, Disney. Take my money. Yeah.
You're now gonna get removed from the entertainment industry. You said thanks for nothing, Disney.
Oh, damn it. Is that not a thing you can say anymore?
No, Disney has the monopoly over everything.
Oh, damn it. I guess my channel will be deleted once Disney buys YouTube. The inner German breaks out. Oh yeah, for sure. The inner German breaks out every now and then. Do you have Disney Plus? No, I don't have that yet. Your English is Gucci, bro. Okay, thank you. See, that's the kind of stuff I want to hear. Very nice. How long have you been programming? Definitely more than 10 years. Probably almost more like 15, but it's very on and off, so very hard to tell. Like, when I started programming, I didn't really do it a lot. I did it every now and then, so it's more like a slow transition thing, you know, with my programming. Most played Steam game, right? Yeah, we can check that. Check that.
I'm curious now what mine is.
Oh yeah, you check that as well.
Yep.
Everybody at home in chat, let me know what your most played Steam game is as well. Let's check it out. Actually, where can I check out what my most played Steam game is? I'm not quite sure.
It's always a little fiddly to get to that page.
I mean, when I click on a game, I can see my playtime. I'll just read it
but
out.
you can see the
Age
ranking,
of
right?
Mythology, 13 hours. The ranking, but
There's
the
a
ranking?
ranking page. Yeah, it's always. Let me try to get to mine and
search
can
by
see.
type. I can do search by type, but there's nothing about playtime, or is there?
There's something where you can see it on your profile or something like that.
Yeah, and stuff like that drives everybody crazy. Who knows how to do that?
Oh yeah, like if you go to your profile, if you go to your profile and then
Yes.
There's some way to then go to like all your games.
View my profile.
And it's always.
And here you can see my recently played games, which is 1.9 hours of Will You Snail.
Oh yeah. If you go to your profile and then you have games on the right side, on the right bar.
Where here games 65? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I see. Oh yeah.
And
Okay.
You see the ranking.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, that is actually very interesting.
Yeah.
As I've assumed, my most played game is Game Maker Studio with 2,300 hours, which of course is probably even more considering the fact that I'm not using the Steam version of Game Maker anymore, and I've also not used the Steam version of Game Maker for a long time. So that was just a temporary period where I used the Steam version of Game Maker. And then on Place 2, not surprising as well, is Islanders, who would have thought, with 73 hours.
Islanders, actually, dude. Islanders is my Place 2 too.
Nice.
I have 102 hours on Islanders.
Oh, that's nice. And then on Place 3 is Blender with 37 hours, which I assume is probably a lot more in real life as well, because I'm not sure if I'm using the Steam version of Blender at the moment. Probably not, to be honest. Why would you use the Steam version of Blender? I have no idea why I did that in the first place. Then Portal 2. So if we exclude all of the software and all of the games I've made myself, then Portal 2 is actually on spot number 1 with 29 hours. Talos Principle is on place 2 with 24 hours. Brawlhalla is on the next place with 21 hours, because I've actually not played that myself, but we used to play that a lot at game school with friends, right? So Brawlhalla, 21 hours.
We always played that together with Noah.
Oh, lol. And then there's Nosgoth, which I didn't expect at all. I played that for 16 hours? What the hell? Yeah, it's a I don't know, it's a dead multiplayer game at this point, probably.
Right.
Deponia, Rocket League, Age of Mythology, Super Sanctum Tower Defense, which I can totally recommend to everybody who's into tower defense games. Warhammer 40k, Rivals of Aether, Terraria, Superflight, Undertale, Factorio, Orcs Must Die, Opus Magnum, Gods Will Be Watching, Planet Coaster, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I guess we get the point. Look into which games I play. Yeah.
So my most played one apparently is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which doesn't really surprise me. Came out this year. Love the game.
Sorry, which one again?
Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. It's a game that I actually helped I contributed via Kickstarter.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
And what is that game about? What's that game?
It's like Castlevania, the series. It's like a spiritual successor for the series of Castlevania. It's kind of the first proper title in that series, made by the person who already had been the director of Castlevania for the last 2 decades.
Okay, so perfect for a Castlevania fan like you.
Like me, yeah, exactly. and then like in a similar fashion it goes on, and like then it's Dead Cells, which is also
Dead Cells. That has been recommended to me quite a lot, actually. Dead Cells. But apparently Dead Cells is pretty addicting. Gotta try that though.
I'll tell you, it's pretty addicting. I have 81 hours since this.
All right, then.
And then the next one is actually Portal 2, which for me has 69 hours, which is very nice.
Nice.
Nice. And then it's Prison Architect, then some Castlevania games. Undertale, The Witness, and just more and more games.
How did you get Chromium? I guess I just downloaded it after one of my friends told me that Chrome is basically just Chromium but with spyware, or with Chromium is the version without spyware. I'm not sure what's to that. I can't confirm or deny, but that's why I downloaded it to check it out. You seem very strong. Do you usually visit the gym? Thanks for stroking my ego. No, I'm not going to the gym. Usually in summer, I go for a run about 2 to 3 times a week and just do some push-ups after that. That's pretty much it. Yeah, nothing special to that at all. Actually, I think I've gotten a little bit of a belly lately, to be honest. But I guess that can happen in winter. But it's not even winter yet, so yeah, we'll see.
Well, technically it's winter.
Yeah.
Just not very cold.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to motivate yourself to go for a run when it's so cold outside. I struggle with that quite a bit. Because it's so easy to come up with excuses like you don't want to get sick, etc., etc. And then you just don't do any sport, which is not great. Sport is pretty important, I think. Yeah. What is Flubby Farmer? That is a game jam game I made with Yen and 2 other friends from game school for Ludum Dare. Go check it out. It's on itch.io. Flubby Farm.
Oh, really? It's Flubby Farm, not Flubby Farm.
Flubby Farm. Do I actually have that on my desktop? Probably that's why you asked. Like, if you have anything fishy on your desktop, never show your desktop on stream. Just a little hint.
It's literally fishy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's why the person asked what's Flubby Farmer, because it has the wrong name on my desktop.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, because I think we were gonna call it Flubby Farmer at first, and then we changed it to Flubby Farm.
Was my accent that bad? I'm sorry. But honestly, sometimes I speak like that on purpose. Like when I do this extremely German accent right here, or whatever this is, like this is not how I speak usually. This is Jonas Schwarzenegger. Yes.
Jonas Schwarzenegger. Jawohl.
What's your least favorite game that I've made? Hard to tell. I've made a lot of bad games. Probably Spoontastic Baby, which is one of my mobile games, and the reason why I really don't like the game is because I invested a lot of time in it. Like, if you make a bad game, but you only invested a couple of hours into it, no big deal. But if you make a bad game and you've put a lot of hours into it, then yeah, it kind of stinks. So that's why I think.
Why is that a bad game?
Like, compared to the time I put in and to how the game plays, it's just nah. It gets boring so quickly. In case I'm not sure, maybe I can show the game off real quick if you're already talking about it, because I have a folder with all of my games. Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm afraid people will see more games and ask, oh, what is this? Can you show this? But I guess that is also good material for a YouTube video. By the way, I've shown a lot of my old games in one of my YouTube videos. It's called, I forgot the name of the video, but you'll find it if you look for it. It's something like my game dev journey, something like that. Yeah. Where's that folder?
That's funny because I also have a folder full of your games. It's called Jonas Coole Builds.
Nice. Okay, yeah, so here's my games folder. Let's see if Spoontastic Baby's in there. Is it? Yeah, seems to be so. Burp. And that's the Windows version. Of course, it was a mobile game initially. Yeah, and then it'll pop up a couple of error messages, but I think it still works. and it's way too loud, so let's tone that down a bit. Where is it here? Okay, hope the volume of that is fine. And basically the way it works is you have to feed that baby here. Oh. And it's one of the games that I didn't make alone. Like, I didn't come up with this concept. I was brought into this project. But I still take responsibility for the poor game design. 100% my fault. Yeah. And then you have little power-ups down here where you can like make the baby laugh so it opens its mouth, and you can, you know, put in some more food here, a little food cannon, and then at the top here, if you manage to fill up that bar at the top, you win, and if it runs out, you lose. Yeah, and on mobile you just control that by swiping to the left and to the right. And like the main problem with this game is just that it gets boring extremely quickly. Like, of course it's kind of a funny idea, it's a funny little game, but you can literally play it for 2 minutes and then it gets boring. And the baby has a couple more attacks, like it can spit fire as well, it can do a couple more things, but really it's not enough to keep you interested. So yeah, that's that. Worst game. You've asked for it. Have you played Hollow Knight? No, unfortunately not, but it seems to be a good game as well. I've downloaded Celeste as a research project for Will You Snail because people kept telling me Celeste is a good platformer. And yes, I can confirm Celeste is a good platformer. I haven't finished it though. And Hollow Knight is a bit more Metroidvania-like, right? It's less linear. Have you played Hollow Knight, Jan?
It's on my list, but I haven't played it.
Okay.
Still want to do so.
Epic animations. Yeah, those animations were not done by me. Actually outsourced those to a professional animator.
That's why they're epic.
Epic. The only thing I made was a replicate of Snake. I'm a noob. You have to start somewhere. That's a good start.
Snake is actually a pretty complex game to start with.
Yeah, I mean, for a first game, yes. I agree. Oh, you got a coupon for being a YouTube Premium member. That is cool. I think they're offering trial months right now, right? I think I've seen that pop up as well, where YouTube told me, hey, try YouTube Premium for free for 1 month. And actually, I'm pretty tempted. I feel like as somebody who's using YouTube a lot, I will probably get that. Yeah, I think it's worth it. Made in X and AA. Should be cautious. Sometimes these comments just out of context. I can't make sense of them. Okay. I'm calling last round of questions. I'm usually very bad at ending streams, but let's be real, we have to end it somewhere. So 3 more questions. Here we go. I'll only pick good ones. Where are most of your viewers from? Okay, I'll accept that question. I think most of my viewers are probably from the same time zone, I guess, so from Europe, Germany, but there are a lot of people from all over the world, which is pretty cool. Your thoughts on adaptive difficulty? I like adaptive difficulty if it's done correctly. There's one game that did adaptive difficulty so poorly it really scared me. Because it was a really fun game, and actually I have that in my Steam library as well. It was some sort of tower defense game from top down where you had to shoot monsters. And that game had adaptive difficulty, but it was implemented so poorly, because the way it worked was every time you completed a level successfully without losing, your resource collectors got less efficient in the next level. So you just got less resources. So the better you played, the less resources you got, which kind of sounds like it makes sense. But at some point, I was in a level that I couldn't beat. It was completely impossible because I could not gather enough resources in time. And the adaptive difficulty adjustment didn't lower the difficulty to a point where I could beat the level again. So I was stuck in a level because automatic difficulty adjustment increased the difficulty to a level where I couldn't beat the game anymore, and the adaptive difficulty never bothered to decrease the difficulty after that, which was not a good experience. Will You Snail has adaptive difficulty as well, but you can turn that off if you want. The way it works in Will You Snail is, there's the AI in Squid, in Will You Snail, called Squid, that also spawns all of these traps and makes these icicles fall down, etc., etc. And I just contextualize it in a way where Squid is also in control of the difficulty. Like, he can also change the difficulty for you. If he sees you're taking too long, he gets bored and he decreases the difficulty for you. If you're rushing through the game too quickly, he increases the difficulty. But the big difference is, when he changes your difficulty, he actually tells you, he lets you know, which is a little bit of an arguing point as well in the community and among playtesters. Some people are like, yeah, you should just hide the adaptive difficulty and not tell anybody you're doing it. But I feel like for a skill-based game like Will You Snail, you probably want to know when the difficulty changes, because if you don't want the difficulty to change, you can change it back. So you as the player are still in control of the difficulty, and just those players who don't really want to bother with those settings, I make sure that an appropriate difficulty level is selected for them automatically. But if you want, you can turn difficulty adjustments off and you can select the difficulty level you want to play on yourself. For people who aren't like too casual to know how to do that or something like that, I'll pick the difficulty for them. That's the idea for Will You Snail. Yeah. I feel like for the most part it works just fine. Main issue is that people feel a little discouraged when the AI decreases their difficulty or stuff like that, but not sure what to do about that. Good question. Excellent question. Last question. Let's pick a good one.
The one about DLC levels?
DLC, where's that one? I can't see it.
It's Jambo Games asking, will you update the game as in more levels as DLC?
Good question. I'd prefer to publish the game in a state where I'm happy with it and then not add too much stuff later, because I feel like a lot of the levels I add from here on out will have some lore or some story to it. And I definitely want the game to launch with enough lore and story to make people satisfied and not leave them with a lot of open questions. I mean, it's not off the table. I might add some levels later, but I'm wondering how that works in a game that has a fixed beginning and a fixed end. Like, there is a little bit of a level, a little bit of a tension curve throughout the game, right? A little bit of storytelling going on there already. So if I add another set of levels, I'm not sure how that would fit in there. But I'll think about it. And I'll just try to launch with enough levels to begin with. That should probably be the main goal. Because I'm a little scared that, my main fear, if I bring the game out, nobody cares. Nobody likes the game. So I'll make sure there's enough when the game launches, enough content. Okay, I thought that was the last question, so I'm just gonna say bye-bye. Thank you very much for joining the stream. It was very fun. We should do this again sometime. I hope you're in a more Christmassy mood now.
I know I am.
And yeah, there will be 2 more videos this year, I guess. one pretty epic announcement coming soon. And then was one less epic announcement coming as well. Yeah, very nice. This was awesome. We managed to beat Will You Snail winter version on impossible difficulty, which is actually impossible. We did the impossible. Nothing can stop us anymore. If you want to help me, let me turn on the overlay real quick. Go wishlist Will You Snail. Thank you very much. That is, if you want to help, that's the best thing you can do right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.